Well, the University of Manitoba Concerto Competition announced its 2025 winners recently. 9 emerging artists in a wide variety of instruments shared their music in the final round at the Desatel Concert Hall. Of those 9, 3 students were chosen as winners, and we have 2 of them with us live in the Classic 107 studios. Violinist Shion Tamashiro and pianist Ari Hooker. Thank you so much for being here this morning, you guys.
Good to be here, Nolan.
Thank you.
We're also joined in the Classic 107 studios by Laura Loewen, the Desatel Faculty of Music's Associate Dean of Undergraduate Studies and Professor of Collaborative Piano. Good morning, Laura.
Thank you very much.
So, Laura, maybe we'll start with you here. Tell us maybe a little bit, for those who are not familiar, about the concerto competition and sort of its function in the Desatel Faculty of Music community.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us here. So the Desatel faculty has 5 competitions every year. One of them is for composers, and the other 4 are performance-based. And they all have, they're all for different students based on, 2 of them have donors, so based on the donor's vision for that prize. But the concerto competition is open to everyone, and it's a fantastic way to really celebrate the incredible work that students are doing, and to give people an opportunity to play with our ensembles. So it's like, I would say, one of the highlights of the year. And a lot of students participate in it and put an enormous amount of work into preparing these concertos, as you well know.
As these artists that are with us in the studio are nodding quite vigorously about the amount of work that goes into this process. Ari, tell me a little bit about the piece that you were able to share in the finals.
Okay, so I played the first movement of Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Concerto, which is one of probably the most famous pieces in the classical repertoire.
Absolutely.
So with that comes a lot of responsibility and pressure to, do it the way people like it. So yeah, it's a lot of preparation, a lot of specifically technical preparation, just because Rachmaninoff is so demanding of a pianist.
Yeah.
I actually played the third movement in my first year, 2 years ago, when I did the concerto competition. So I was sort of coming back to the piece. I'd already learned the notes, which is good. It's always nice for a musician to return to a piece because it just feels, every time you come back to it, it feels more settled than it did the last time.
You said something really interesting there about balancing what people sort of expect of something as famous as that Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto. What is it like to balance those kind of expectations that come with a piece like that versus putting your own sort of stamp on it as an emerging young artist?
I mean, when it comes to a piece like that that's just so famous and well-known, you just sort of, there are certain spots where you just have to do what everybody expects. You have to take rubato in places that people expect you to. You have to have a certain passion and sensibility for the music that just makes it come alive, because people have heard it a million times. You have to make it come alive again. So a lot of that, but also still balancing then, how you feel about the music and how you want to interpret it.
Yeah. What about for you, Shion? What did you share in the concerto competition this year?
On the theme of playing very standard repertoire, I played the Sibelius Violin Concerto in G
Oh,
minor,
wow.
like the first movement as well. And yeah, I think on what Ari was saying, just kind of exploring the options of what people will be expecting of you versus what you want to do yourself, and kind of walking that fine line was a bit difficult for me, because I think I tend to I have the habit of questioning why people do certain things and not just automatically like adopting certain practices just because it's tradition. But I guess that's something I explore a lot with my professor, and it's been a great time. Kind of.
Yeah, what's that like then to look at these sorts of expectations that have been put into these sort of larger than life pieces in the classical music canon and say, wait, why do we do things the way that we do them as a student? What's that like to interrogate sort of the performance history behind something as famous as the Sibelius Violin Concerto?
I think sometimes I can be met with eyebrow raises. And it's just like, oh, who are you, a lowly student, to kind of ask questions about how things are done. But I think that's a pertinent step in growing as a musician, and to actually know what it's like if you don't really truly understand something until you question it.
Yeah.
And that's when you start to truly start to discover, I don't know, like the beauty of the music and what Sibelius had in mind when he first composed it. So,
Laura, you were nodding as Shion was talking there. What do you notice in how students develop throughout the process of the concerto competition, first in its preliminary rounds and then in its final rounds, to build on what Shion was talking about, to interrogate the repertoire, not just perform these great standards of the canon?
Well, it's a difficult thing, and I think it's not just in the concerto competition. It's in every piece that you learn, right? That you're always in that kind of balance. And from my point of view, when I was in school, we were just like, you just do it this way, right? And now I think that students are much more questioning, why is that? And how does my voice emerge in this piece, right? And I think that that's a way better situation than just feeling like, well, I'm not really important here. I have to do what the composer says. And yeah, we absolutely have to interrogate. There's often reasons for those traditions, that it even if it's not in the score, somebody did it once and it works better than what was there before or whatever. But there's always that balance of figuring out, like, how do I speak this language that this composer has given me, and where do I fit into it? And I think that that's something we explore for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sets up students well for that sort of dialogue with performer and composer. There's another dynamic here that maybe we can speak to a little bit, Ari, which is the dialogue between students that are participating in the concerto competition. Earlier this week, we were speaking with Julia Norris, the winner of the Verna May Jansen music competition over at CMU, talking about this very supportive atmosphere that exists between the finalists as they sort of get to listen to different instruments sharing different soloist capacities to some degree. Does a similar sort of a dynamic exist at the U of M during the concerto competition as well?
It's certainly, there's certainly a supportive atmosphere just around, the hall. When we were in the finals, everybody's in the same backstage room, so you have to interact with all the other performers, but everyone's very good-natured and wishing each other good luck and then congratulating each other on performances. And yeah, it's super fun as well just to listen to everyone else and listen to the work that everybody else has put in and be like, oh, you hear someone playing, you're like, oh, I want to play chamber music with them now.
So fostering new collaborations. Was it the same thing for you, Shion, listening to all the other performers in the finals?
I actually played second last, and I was told not to sit in to listen to the others because it would kind of disrupt my
I see.
preparation for...
Right.
But I have quite a few friends that played in it, and I think we kind of treated the competition not really as a competition as we know it, but more as an opportunity to just be able to play in the hall. And then whatever outcome happens, it's just, oh, wow, that's a bonus to being able to perform, because I feel as though we don't get many chances to play on a stage like that very often.
Right.
It's mostly like at Eva Claire during master classes or, so just having,
something that's
like that.
a special opportunity to play solo on the new Des Ital Concert Hall stage. Shion, what do you think you take away from being a part of the concerto competition, watching performers from other instruments, other disciplines, and what do you take from that experience and then put into your own artistry going forward?
I think it's quite a test of preferation rather than like the performance itself. Sorry if that I don't know if that answers your question, but for me, I struggle sometimes with preparation in terms of time management and all that. So just having something like the concerto competition to, like, I know for first years we only have like a jury at the end of the year, and so for something else to kind of keep me in check until I need to prepare for an end of the year sort of thing, the concerto competition provided that. So
it's a cool learning outcome to take away from that kind of experience. Ari, what about for you? What do you take away from this experience into your artistry going forward?
It's certainly like a good, as Shion said, it's a good goal to have, and it keeps you disciplined as a musician to have these things that occur periodically to work towards. In terms of like my artistry, I mean, it's another concerto under my belt, I guess. I mean, it's more understanding, it's more knowledge, it's more just working towards every musician's goal, which is just to perform music to the best of our ability and to the intentions of the composer.
Of course. Laura, this is just one of the competitions, as you mentioned, throughout the academic year at the Desautels Faculty of Music. What are the next sort of competitions that you're looking forward to, and how then do the winners get plugged into all of the other outputs that the School of Music has in the coming year?
Well, all the other competitions have finished except for the ensemble competition. And the ensemble competition is our newest competition. This is just the third year. So Kurt Markstrom taught at the Desautels faculty for many, many years, and he was also a fellow at St. John's College. And the whole time he was there, he was trying to figure out a way for the two faculties to work together. And at the end, we decided to create an ensemble competition, and it's presented in connection with the St. John's art competition. So we have preliminaries, which we had a few weeks ago, and we invite anyone from the faculty to put together an ensemble. Some of them, like Shion's, was a group that they're already working on the rep through their chamber music class. Some of them are just groups that are kind of a labor of love for people. And jazz students and students in the Bachelor of Music and Master of Music and Postbac are all welcome and invited to perform. So we have 3 categories, and we chose a winner from each of the categories at the prelims, and then they're going into the finals on April 7th. And that's going to be at St. John's College, and that's an Audience Choice Award. So they all perform. The audience, votes for who they love the most, and then that is in connection with the finals of the arts competition. So it's super fun.
Yeah,
it's usually a pretty raucous audience.
I was going to say.
So I'm hoping for more of the same on April 7th.
So many exciting things happening to celebrate all of the fantastic talent at the Desautels Faculty of Music. Laura Loewen, Shion Tamashiro, and Ari Hooker. Thank you so much for joining us in the Classic 107 studios today to tell us more about the concerto competition especially, and congratulations to the two of you on your win.